An invitation from the church in the orchard. You are warmly invited to join us to share in soup and conversation every Wednesday, 12 noon till 2 p.m. at Grange Park Methodist Church, which is the corner of Park Drive and Old Park Ridings, N21 2LS. Queries 07930 920 941 or www.grangeparkmethodistchurch.com.
Winchmore Hill Writers. Winchmore Hill Writers are a small, friendly group who meet on occasional Sunday afternoons in Winchmore Hill to develop their skills and for mutual support. The group is led by Christine Weil, experienced tutor and published writer. All kinds of writing and levels of experience, including none, are welcome. Please contact me for dates, topics, and cost of future sessions. Contact me, that's Christine, on 0790 5209 459, or my email address is christine at, and this is all one word, roomofherown.plus.com.
Grange Park Evening WI. Would love you to come and join us at 7:30 p.m. on the first Monday of each month in the main hall, Grange Park Methodist Church, Old Park Ridings, London N21 2EU, for an evening of entertainment and friendship, usually involving a speaker and sometimes a quiz. We also organise social events and other activities. For further details, please contact Chris on 0208 360 4029, or why not take a look at our website at www.grangeparkeve@weebly.com, and Weebly you spell WEEBLY.
You are invited by the Enfield Society to a talk on the history of quilling on Tuesday the 26th of February, 10:30 a.m. until 12:30 at the Jubilee Hall, 2 Parsonage Lane, Enfield, EN2OAJ. This is a talk by Judith and Christine Hughes on the art of quilling. It involves using strips of paper that are rolled, shaped and glued together to create decorative designs. Judith and Christine will describe the history of quilling from when paper was first invented through to the modern day. They will talk about some of the famous people who've been involved in this art form and show examples of quilling that they have produced. And there will be an opportunity to buy items that they have made. A regular programme of talks is arranged by the Enfield Society. These are free to members, and non-members are welcome to attend for a modest charge. Refreshments are available and our sales counters will be open. Jubilee Hall, 2 Parsonage Lane is near the junction with Chaseside, and there is access ramp for wheelchairs.
This is a further invitation from the Enfield Society, following on from the last item. This is a talk being given on Wednesday, the 27th of February, 2:30 to 4 p.m. The talk is being given by Joe Studman, and it's about Charles Lamb in Enfield and Edmonton. Charles Lamb was the most genial of the local literati, and his love-hate relationship with this area. The cost for this is £3 per person. Again, it's at Jubilee Hall, Parsonage Lane.
And Enfield Age UK's Diabetes Support Group meets on the last Tuesday of the month from 1:30 p.m. to 3 p.m. at Green Towers Community Centre, 7 Plevna Road, Edmonton, London N9 OBT. The group is open to adults aged 18 or over. It focuses on giving support, information and advice on how to live well with diabetes. For more information, please call 020 8375 4120 or email ICAN, that's ICAN, at ageUKenfield.org.uk, or visit ageuk.org.uk/Enfield.
Cars better than bikes. A letter from G.A. Musey of Palmer's Green. Further to cycling culture, opinion, February the 6th. Whilst Councillor Anderson is in denial, Mr Hughes acknowledges the lack of riders on the expensive Green Lane cycle lanes and says expect a long wait before they are fully used. He hopes this can be achieved by the subsequent reduction of road traffic space and road restrictions in residential areas to encourage motorists to use a bicycle instead of their car for short journeys. He says Britain's cycling culture has been lost and needs nurturing if it is to return. This is unlikely because it was in a period when the car did not compete. Now that it does, with 38.4 million vehicle owners, there is no enthusiasm for a general return to cycling. Look along residential roads in Enfield and see the residents' cars parked on both sides. How many will be exchanged for a bicycle? Mr Hughes cites lack of exercise, air quality, rat running and kids' freedom as a reason for not having a car. But cycling is not the only way to exercise, and it can be harmful for hip and leg bone density. Air pollution will reduce with cleaner and electric vehicles. Rat running is created by residents, and children now spend most of their time watching screens. Cars dominate urban space by choice of the people, simply because they are all-weather machines accommodating 4 or more occupants in a dry, comfortable, private space. Even Mr Hughes had one. A bicycle does not compare.
Enfield Over 50s Computer. This club meets the first Sunday of every month at St John's Hall, Strayfield Road, off Theobald's Park Road, Enfield, that's EN2 9JP, from 10:30am to approximately 3pm. Our website is www.enfieldcomputerclub.com or phone Eric on 0208 366 6162.
Enfield Arthritis Group, first Wednesday of the month, 6pm to 8pm. Whether you have arthritis or care for someone with the condition, our group is for you. For more information about the group, please email Enfield Arthritis Social Group @outlook.com or call Arthritis Care on 020 7380 6522.
The Art Society of Enfield invite you to a lecture at the St Paul Centre, 102A Church Street, EN2 6AR, on Thursday, the 28th of February at 10:30am. The lecture this time is on silver thread, a silver filigree and traditional arts in Kosovo. Next month's talk on the 28th of March is 1930s glamour and grime.
Streets Ahead blows the house down. Local dance group Streets, and that's spelt STREETZ, Ahead, launched their new show Wolf last year at the Dugdale Theatre in Enfield and have now moved the show to Leicester Square Theatre in London. A fiery explosion of hip-hop dance, physical theatre and rap performed by 4 kids who revitalised the tale of the wolf and the 3 little pigs with a contemporary script at the Leicester Square Theatre this February half-term. The Dance Tricks original soundtrack and off-the-wall choreography of Wolf will send you on a musical roller coaster along the story which deals with real-life social issues, loss, hope and stereotyping. Elizabeth Lahavre, the AFTA BAFTA Award winner and artistic director of Streets Ahead street dance charity, says, "There is something endearing about children delivering messages of hope through theatre. Children are taught and spoken to by adults every day, so watching children reenact everyday situations of deep friendships, identity and loss completely engages the younger members of the audience." In this original take on the children's classic, Lahavre explains the process in devising Wolf was largely based on role play and workshops with the children, their viewpoints and their coping mechanisms in dealing with the world were an integral part to the development of Wolf. 2 casts consisting of 4 young actors each have featured in big West End musicals before. But this time, the focus is solely on them in this enthralling, inspiring and gusty show which is going to blow the house down. Streets Ahead is a registered charity providing free or low-cost weekly dance and performing art classes to young people throughout North London who may not have access to such opportunities.
2 goals condemn Enfield to defeat on the road. Off-colour Towners suffer setback at Hornchurch. Enfield Town failed to build on their win last time out in the Bostik Premier Division as they fell 2-0 to a lowly but revitalised AFC Hornchurch side. The lack of consistency cost the Towners as goals from Ronnie Wynn and Charlie Stimson condemned them to their 7th away defeat of the season. Joe Wright, who saved a penalty in his last outing, was again missing through injury, so Matt Nolan was called up in his place, while Jay Porter made his debut at left-back after arriving from the club he was lining up against. It was a negative first half for Enfield, who had Billy Bricknell playing up front on his own, and Hornchurch should have been ahead long before Wynn drove home from Stimson's pass. The visitors' only real chance came on the stroke of half-time, where Mickey Parcell's free header from 3 yards out was planted straight at Callum Chafer in the Hornchurch goal. Enfield tried to pick up the pace at the start of the second half, but their crosses were overhit and they were constantly losing possession in key areas. As the half progressed, so too did the pressure from Hornchurch. They were made to pay when, in the 74th minute, a rare mistake from Mark Weatherstone allowed the ball to be played into the path of Stimson, and he rounded Nolan to double the advantage. In response, Dan Rumans, who had a first-half penalty appeal for handball waved away, also had another claim for a spot kick go unnoticed by the referee after being on the wrong end of a strong challenge in the penalty area. This all before he had another effort cleared off the line. The final key chance of the game went the host's way as Nolan produced a fine save to tip over a set piece from Sean Marks. While it was a disappointing result for Town, they are still just 2 points off the playoff positions. The chance to climb back into those positions comes against Folkestone Invicta on Saturday.
1 goal proves enough, keeping the pressure on. Southgate maintained their third-place position in the East Conference thanks to a narrow 1-0 away at Brighton and Hove. Joe Stellini scored the only goal of the game in a tight encounter to give the visitors the 3 points and keep the pressure on Oxted and the Old Georgians at the top. Southgate made the better start to the game and were enjoying more of the ball, although both teams had chances despite being unable to convert, leaving the contest goalless at the break. Stellini broke the deadlock in the 46th minute when a well-worked penalty corner deflected into the roof of the net to hand the visitors the advantage, and they held on to that lead until the end, despite Brighton edging the rest of the game in terms of possession. Southgate will have the chance to close the gap on Oxted on Saturday when they visit Teddington.
Defeat leaves Ignatians still at the basement. Enfield Ignatians remain bottom of London 2 North West after Hammersmith and Fulham inflicted their 8th straight defeat with a 41-22 result. 2 tries from Liam Dunn, as well as the singular scores from Ben Mills and Jack O'Toole, did at least give Ignatians a bonus point for scoring 4 tries, but they are still 1 point from safety. They started badly and fell 12-0 down behind in the first 15 minutes as the hosts capitalised from a defensive mix-up. But the visitors rallied and tries from Dunn and Mills had them level at the interval. Ignatians came off the rail in the second half though, and a combination of indiscipline and inability to hold possession saw the Hammers smash the 40-point barrier. To their credit, however, the away side pushed on again as Dunn went over once more, as did O'Toole for the first time, to reduce the deficit enough to claim a bonus point. Ignatians' next game sees them travel to Welling on Saturday, March the 2nd.
Borough's travel troubles continue. The poor away form continued for Enfield Borough on Saturday with a 4-1 loss at Buckingham Athletic in Division 1 of the Spartan South Midlands League. Sam Olawale opened the scoring for the home side before Richard Ennin's equaliser. Kevin Owusu's double comfortably restored the lead, and Nick Bynes added a fourth to make it safe. Manager Sean Rees was forced to change almost half of his team due to unavailability, with Henderson Brown, Gideon Sarpong, Tage Kennedy, Jemiah Lawrence Plenty and Ali Bangura being replaced by Kane James Thompson, Tracy Bambi, Brian Chibangu, Mika Jackson and Thomas Opoku. The home side had the better start and took a deserved lead when Owusu regained possession and launched a hopeful ball into the Enfield box, and Olawale latched onto it to fire past Brandon Walsh. Olawale had an opportunity to double his and Buckingham's tally, but was made to pay for spurning the chance when Jackson rounded the home side's goalkeeper before squaring for Ennin to net his 13th of the season from close range. Buckingham continued to attack after the break and regained their lead in fortuitous fashion when Owusu's cross from the left was misjudged by Walsh and he could only palm it into his own net. Owusu, on the opposite wing this time, then effectively finished the game with a powerful run and finished past Walsh. The best chance Enfield could muster to get back in the game was a shot from James Thompson that flashed across the face of the goal. Instead of Borough getting back into it, though, Buckingham added a fourth late on as Bynes converted to make the point safe and leave Rees's side 14th in the league. Well, we've reached the end of our programme for this week. Thank you for listening. So from the team of Kitty, Jane, Danny and Peter on the controls, it's goodbye.
Goodbye.
Please remember to turn over the address label in your postal packet, put the memory stick into the packet in a closed position and return it to us as soon as possible, in readiness for the next edition. Don't forget, you can call Diane de Jersey regarding any help you may require in connection with Enfield Talking Newspaper on 020 8805 6578. Coming up next, the latest news and information for the Greater London area from InfoSound. The Enfield Talking Newspaper will be with you again in 1 week's time.
Help make Enfield a better place to live. Residents of Enfield have a fantastic opportunity to turn their creative ideas on how to make the borough a better place to live into a reality. The Council's Enfield Now project is partnering again with a crowdfunding platform, Space Hive, to offer support and to ensure the viability of pitches for funding. Enfield Now has a funding pot of £50,000 and can match fund up to 50% to a maximum of £5,000 per project, which can be added to what you raise from the crowd. The crowdfunding programme is open to all groups and individuals in the borough. A workshop being held on the 6th of March at the Civic Centre will explain more.
Together We Are Enfield, a play written by the Mayor of Enfield which aims to break down barriers and spread joy between communities, is due to open at the Millfield Theatre in February. Tickets for Together We Are Enfield on Tuesday, the 26th of February, the brainchild of Councillor Sarah Caracas, are available from www.millfieldtheatre.co.uk and cost £10 each. Councillor Caracas said, Together We Are Enfield tells the story of our fantastic borough and demonstrates that we should be proud of what we have built and the contributions of all our diverse and brilliant communities to protect the beauties and treasures of Enfield. I wanted to explore the themes of belonging, community service, and the way that once you've lived in Enfield, it always has a place in your heart. I hope people enjoy watching it as much as I've enjoyed creating it. It is a celebration of Enfield and all the good things it has to offer, and all the money we raise will go towards my mayoral charity, Together We Are Enfield. Together We Are Enfield represents the following charities: Enfield Voluntary Action, Mind Enfield, the Children's Society, Platinum Dance School for Performing Arts, Age UK, One-to-One Enfield's Face Front, Inclusive Theatre, Enfield Clubhouse, Edmonton Eagles Amateur Boxing Club, Noah's Ark Children's Hospice, Oasis Community Hub, Hadley Macmillan Cancer Support, the Reading Agency and Book Trust. The play was written and produced by Councillor Caracas with choreography by the Edmonton-based Platinum School of Dance, edited and directed by Nina Lewis-Hart and Irina Lewis. It charts the story of a man who grew up in Enfield but moved out of the borough in later life, although his love and affection for the area never left. While away, he makes sure that his Enfield links remain strong to ensure he still feels part of the community, and is drawn back to Enfield after achieving great success as a documentary director. He decides to make a documentary about Enfield, highlighting the vibrant town and its wonderful people, which achieves great success. The play introduces many aspects of Enfield that are sometimes forgotten, and many people who live here are not recognised for the wonderful work and voluntary services that they provide. It will encourage integration and community spirit, which often gets lost in daily life.
A view from the town. As part of a new feature, keeping local people involved with developments in Enfield Town, EN Magazine has linked up with Enfield Town Business Association Town Centre Manager Mark Rudling to keep you informed on what is happening. Mark Rudling says, like many town centres throughout the country, Enfield Town has faced many challenges in recent years. Businesses not only had to ride out the downturn in the global economy, but also the rapid increase in the number of customers buying online. The face of retail has changed forever, with customers' expectations far greater than ever before. However, many people are becoming increasingly aware that town centres like Enfield Town play a huge part in the local community, and without them our society would be a poorer place. Businesses in Enfield Town are well aware of this and are determined to rise to the challenge and make the shopping experience a pleasurable one. Over the last year, the revived Enfield Town Business Association has raised funds to employ their town centre manager. I've been lucky enough to continue this role, which I previously held for the now closed Enfield Business Retailers Association. One of my main aims is to work hard to bring businesses together with the goal of restoring the main town centre of the borough of Enfield to its former glory. Over the last 12 months, the street scene in Enfield Town was improved by having hanging flower baskets throughout the summer season, followed later in the year by Christmas lights for the first time in many years. There were many successful events held in various locations around the town and in our lovely historic market square during the summer, followed by the hosting of the highly popular Christmas Parade of Lights, which brought thousands of people into Enfield to celebrate the start of Christmas. The number of unsightly long-term empty shops is gradually reducing, with several new businesses investing in Enfield Town, including the revolutionary Metro Bank and a totally new Santander Bank, replacing 3 very run-down shop units. There have recently been a new restaurant opening in Church Street, a vegan takeaway in Genotian Road, Simple and Good by Enfield Town Station, and a new hairdresser's shop in London Road. Watch this space, because the future of Enfield Town is looking rosy over the next few years, and I would encourage local people to make use of the local shops in the town to keep it a thriving place to shop and work.
Pledge to improve quality of housing and town centres. The leader of Enfield Council set out her vision of how to improve the quality of housing in the borough to a meeting of Edmonton Green residents on Saturday. The meeting at Edmonton Green Towers Community Centre on February the 16th was called by Councillor Nezel Kalisgan to address concerns from residents about the quality of repairs and maintenance on the towers above Edmonton Green Shopping Centre, which are owned and managed by London and Quadrant and Metropolitan Thames Valley Housing Associations. Discussions were also held about how to plan for future growth in Enfield and how residents wanted to see Edmonton Greens and other town centres develop and evolve in the future. Officers from L&Q and MTV housing associations were on hand to answer specific queries from residents. Councillor Nezel Kalisgan told attendees that the council was developing a local plan to meet future housing needs in the borough. and was committed to working with developers and other housing providers in Enfield to ensure that there were enough homes for its growing population. But she also pledged action on bringing existing substandard properties up to standard. She said it was important that everyone in the borough lived in a warm, dry property which met their needs, and that the repairs were carried out promptly, regardless of whether they were a council, private or housing association tenant. Councillor Caliscan told the meeting, "Where there are problems with the condition of a property, I want the council to take appropriate action to tackle these problems, or to make sure that the landlord does as quickly as possible. And I want the council to work more closely with housing associations to set service standards and collaborate. If these organisations want to build new homes in our borough, we want to be assured that they are of the highest quality." She added, "We are committed to improving the quality of life for our residents. Central to those plans is the raising the standard of our housing. We know we cannot do that alone, and so we will be working tirelessly with our partners to identify and tackle the problems residents identify." Discussions also took place about how town centres should be improved, with Councillor Caliscan outlining work that was being done to create a new town centre development team and future work to develop town centre action plans to make the borough's key shopping areas more attractive places to visit. The local plan consultation closes on the 28th of February and can be accessed at new.enfield.gov.uk/services/planning/policy/local-plan/.
Winter Fair aims to help older people. Two messages will dominate this year's Winter Fair, organised by Enfield's Over 50s Forum, aimed at cutting the winter deaths figure among older people and the number of families living in fuel poverty homes. The two main areas of focus will be: 1. A specially formulated flu vaccine launched for the first time this year for the over 65s, already given to more than 65% of those eligible in the borough. Vaccine is still available at GP surgeries and pharmacies. 2. In 2016, there were 14,131 Enfield families living in fuel-poor homes, meaning that their income after meeting energy bills placed them in the official poverty level. That's 11.3% of Enfield households with incomes too low to both heat and eat. Admission is free to the Winter Fair, being held on Friday, February the 22nd, from 9:30 a.m. at Enfield County School, Holly Walk, Silver Street, Enfield Town, opposite the Civic Centre. The Winter Fair will highlight the forum's "Keep Warm and Well This Winter" message, funded by the Enfield NHS Clinical Commissioning Group. The fair has an array of workshops and informative stalls on health matters, as well as yoga, folk and circle dancing, live jazz music, Cockney sing-along, and an Asian dance group. Last winter, there were 51,100 excess deaths among older people in England and Wales, the highest number for 40 years.
Google Bus rolls into borough to school businesses in all things digital. The double-decker Google Bus stopped over to offer free advice and training sessions in all things digital. Enfield was treated to a visit from the Google Digital Garage Initiative, where trained specialists gave sessions on launching a business online, marketing, how to use social media platforms, online security, and other advice on helping a business flourish online. The free skills training and coaching sessions are designed to improve the digital skills of businesses and individuals. Council leader, Councillor Nezel Caliscan, and Director of Property and Economy, Mark Bradbury, hopped on the bus to learn how the digital garage can benefit Enfield's businesses. Councillor Caliscan said, "Enfield Council is committed to supporting our town centres, businesses and individuals to create vibrant places to live and work. We also want to help develop a competitive local economy. If businesses can boost their online presence, they will get more customers and clients through the door, which is why Google's training has been invaluable. I look forward to further similar events with Google and other partners that will help people's online skills grow and to help place Enfield's businesses firmly on the digital map. For information on forthcoming jobs and training sessions in the borough, sign up to the Council's regular newsletters.
School children join in litter pick. School children their gratitude. Friends of Bush Hill Park for helping keep the community clean by presenting them with a selection of litter picking equipment. The children of George Spicer Primary gave the set of litter pickers to the group, which has, amongst other things, been organising community litter picking events in Bush Hill Park, which is near their school. On Sunday, February the 10th, more than 30 volunteers, including George Spicer pupils and the Southbury Ward police officers, scoured the park, filling several sacks with assorted litter. The children used scavenger sheets to record the various items of rubbish they collected and were encouraged to chalk their messages about caring for the environment on the paved patio in the park afterwards. Carol Stanley, co-chair of the Friends of Bush Hill Park, said, "The idea for these community litter picks came from a local dad who was looking for something positive to do with his children on a Sunday morning. These additional litter pickers from George Spicer's school will come in very handy now that these events are becoming so popular." George Spicer head teacher Hilary Ballantyne said, "The children learn so much from taking part in activities like this. We have been coming to the park regularly for many years and have formed an excellent relationship with the Friends group. The children particularly love the wildlife garden and are looking forward to seeing the recently built Willow Dome come into leaf."
Calls to invest in more police officers amid rising crime. The government has been urged to prioritise funding for the police and implement the recommendations made in a damning select report into the state of UK crime. Enfield's Council Cabinet members for the Community Safety and Cohesion, Councillor Nika Keysor, wrote to Home Secretary Sajid Javid after the Home Affairs Select Committee said failing to provide extra funding for the police would have dire consequences, and that the current police funding model was not fit for purpose. The Council has been lobbying the government to provide extra money for policing amid concerns there are too few officers in the borough. In her letter, Councillor Kazar sought assurances that policing in Enfield would be raised to manageable levels, that all of the recommendations of the committee reports which called for investment in the police service across the UK and a complete overhaul of the funding mechanism would be implemented. She said, "I want to personally thank each and every member of the police staff who has worked in Enfield for their service to this borough. We know they face an immense challenge every time they put on their uniform, and they do a tremendous job keeping us safe. They do an incredible job under very difficult circumstances, but there simply aren't enough officers to go round, and crime in our borough is at unacceptable levels." The Home Office Select Committee has been very clear that policing urgently needs extra funding, or there will be dire consequences. We agree, and Enfield Council believes it is incumbent on the government to significantly increase investment in the police service so that residents of Enfield and other parts of the country have a police service that is properly resourced, fit for the purpose, and able to meet the challenges of the 21st century. This is an issue that affects every part of the country, and it needs to be addressed now. Consequently, we are calling on Sajid Javed to implement the recommendations made by the Home Affairs Select Committee as a matter of urgency so that our concerns and the concerns of our residents can be urgently addressed. Enfield Council does everything it can to support the police and keep its residents safe. But we need the government to intervene now to ensure the recent increase in crime both locally and nationally is addressed. Enfield Council passed a motion at its full council meeting on Wednesday, January the 30th, condemning government cuts to policing, identifying an increase in crime in the borough and calling on the government to increase police numbers in Enfield.
We have a housing crisis and a bold decision needs to be made. Campaigners are calling on the Mayor of London to stop properties for shared ownership being built at a hospital redevelopment, say residents are being let down. The former St Anne's Hospital site in Tottenham was bought by the Mayor of London, Sadiq Khan, and the Greater London Authority, GLA, in 2018. The site, which could see up to 800 new homes built, will be sold to a private contractor who must meet certain conditions before buying the land, including making 50% of the homes affordable. As part of these plans, developers can sell homes under the shared ownership scheme, which means residents can own part of their house by paying a deposit and through monthly rent payments. But campaigners from St Anne's Redevelopment Trust, START, say selling homes for shared ownership undermines the concept of affordable homes as residents do not have the savings to pay for the initial deposit. A Freedom of Information (FOI) request by START revealed 48% of residents in Haringey have no savings or are in debt, which the group says demonstrates residents could not afford any deposits on homes. David King, who has been a member of START since 2014, said, "Shared ownership is not affordable and unavailable for the majority of residents. We have a housing crisis and a bold decision needs to be made to provide for the needs of the people. We want the GLA to demonstrate that this is a community development." START is involved in the development at St Anne's by putting forward the voices of residents to the GLA to ensure local housing needs are met. The group said it has tried to arrange meetings with Mr Khan and the GLA, but many of these have been cancelled. Mr King said, "We have never got the point about having a discussion about it with the GLA. It is a little bit frustrating. We are beginning to wonder what we are bringing to the process, and we feel like the views of residents are being disregarded. We don't feel like we're being listened to. Residents are being let down." The group also raised concerns that if properties are sold under the shared ownership scheme, they will be sold on afterwards for a higher price, which means housing in the future homes will become more expensive instead of affordable. Mr King added, "We want the site which is here to be an asset for the community and gives benefits for people in the future." City Hall have been contacted for comment. Hello, this is Danny, welcoming you to the 2179th edition of the Enfield Talking newspaper, Dateline 21st of February 2019. The readers this week are Danny, Kitty and Jane, with Peter on the controls. The editor was Phillip, and the production and distribution team is Joan, Jeanne and Keith. Our title music is Country Rock Polka, composed by Pat Prilly, Fernand Brouillon, Harry Breuer, and performed by Jean-Jacques Perry, and is used with his kind permission. The local news stories that we will be reading come from the Enfield Independent and the EN magazine and are their copyright. The events information has been collated by us from other sources. The lead story this week, rise in council tax to help set up Youth Violence Fund. Before the news, we have one or two special news items and notices. First, the sunrise and sunset times for the week beginning 25th of February 2019 are sunrise at 6:55 and sunset at 17:33. Before we begin, an apology for those who were not able to receive last week's edition, for those who have missed 2 weeks now. A flood at Community House put us out of action 2 weeks ago, and technical gremlins hampered our production team last week. We hope to be operating the usual service from this week. Do get in touch with us to share your own news and special announcement. We love to hear from you. If you have any comments about the Enfield Talking newspaper, please phone Diane de Jersey on 020-8805 6578. She is your listener's representative and will be pleased to help you. Now, Kitty will read the first item of local news.
Rise in council tax to help set up Youth Violence Fund. Councillors took aim at the government's austerity policies as they approved a further council tax rise and cuts to services. People in Enfield face a 4.92% hike in council tax from April the 1st, pushing up an average household bills by more than £76 a year to just shy of £1,632. Charge results from a 2.99% rise in core council tax, a further 1% increase to pay for adult social care, and an extra 0.93% levied on behalf of the Greater London Authority. The extra revenue will enable the council to plough £11.4 million into adults and children's social care at a time of growing demand for services. It will also help set up a £1 million fund to tackle serious youth violence over the next 2 years, after the borough was found to have had the highest rate in London. But more than a decade after the financial crisis, ongoing austerity measures mean the Enfield Council has been forced to shave millions of pounds off its budget from 2019 to 2020. The council has already made £178 million of savings since 2010 and will make a further £13 million in the next financial year. Savings include nearly £2 million cuts to public health spending and more than £1 million reduction in spending on temporary accommodation for homeless people. As well as making cuts, the council plans to raise £2.4 million through measures such as expanding pest control and the commercial waste service. This means the council will still need to use £1 million of reserves to balance its books. Despite all these cost-cutting measures, current estimates suggest the council will face a £12 million budget gap during the 2020 to 2021 financial year, meaning further cuts could be on the table in 12 months' time. Cabinet Member for Finance, Councillor Mary Maguire, said, "We have set this budget in the most difficult of circumstances, with one more year of Tory austerity where we face cuts. We have very little wriggle room. Any cuts we have are going to be kept to a minimum, but they will hurt. It is no good the government providing one-off funding now and again. We need a government that will end austerity and put local government finance on a sustainable footing." Councillor George Saver, Labour member for Hazelbury, added, "History repeats itself, where man shows inhumanity to man by hitting local government, where it hurts more the needy, the elderly and the disabled, schools and education. Where do they live?" Meaning the Conservative government. Do they live on Mars? They are not behaving as human beings. Councillor Daniel Anderson said Enfield suffered major challenges due to an out-of-date funding formula that meant it received less money per head than other London boroughs such as Hammersmith and Fulham. He said, "The people of Enfield are being terribly serviced by an approach the government is wholly responsible for. They are looking to review the process, but I don't hold out much hope. Residents should be angry. This is what we are faced with." Labour cabinet members criticised Conservative leader Councillor Joanne Laban for leaving the room during the budget discussions, which came after a debate on changes to bin collections. Councillor Laban said she had left the room because the residents wanted to voice their concerns to her about the bin collection shake-up. She returned towards the end of the discussion, and her Conservative colleague, Councillor Jim Stephen, was present throughout the debate. Budget for 2019 to 20 will now go to full council for final approval.
Waste bin consultation was open and transparent. Enfield's council leader has defended a move to cut bin rounds after the decision was branded undemocratic by the Conservative opposition leader. Councillor Councillor Nessel Caliscan insisted the local authority was listening to residents' views and had been upfront about the tough financial choices that had prompted the move to fortnightly collections. Her comments came after Conservative leader, Councillor Joanne Laban, accused the council of acting like a dictatorship after approving the plans in the face of public opposition. 2/3 of people who responded to a consultation said they wanted to keep weekly collections. But Councillor Calisgan insisted that the consultation was conducted transparently and said the council would respond to the concerns members of the public had raised. She said, "The Cabinet report was very thorough and detailed. Is one of the most thorough reports I have seen. The consultation was very clear on the principles that we use to make the decision. We know people have opinions and concerns about street cleaning and waste collections. We wanted to make sure when we did make a decision, we could address some of their concerns. The local authority has been open and transparent about it, and it is about the cuts we have to make. We have been forced to make £18 million of cuts this year. Because of all the cuts, it's really difficult to find these savings now. I don't think people realise how difficult things are in terms of budgets. We could have gone on for a different option. The difference is, with option 7, there is an extra £500,000 we can reinvest in street cleaning. There has been no investment in street cleaning for 10 years. Fly tipping and the state of roads is important to residents, particularly in the east of the borough. Councillor Calisgan said the consultation was the most thorough it could possibly have been in order that there were no legal challenge, which would have cost the council money. She added that the council was looking to boost recycling and pointed out that the rollout of a similar scheme in Ealing had upped the borough's recycling rate to 53%. Policies aimed at helping larger families will remain in place, and the council leader said the weekly food waste collections would help to minimise unpleasant smells. Councillor Calisgan said she would be happy for the Conservatives to come up with an alternative that would enable them to keep weekly collections. She said, "I am not willing to make cuts to children's services or to adult social care. If we did not have cuts, we would not be doing this. We are down to the bone now." The council leader pledged to ensure residents are kept updated and informed, so the transition to the new rounds takes place as smoothly as possible.
Have your say on local plan. People are being invited to have their say on the council's plans to boost house building and reduce inequality in the borough. Enfield Council's draft local plan was up for discussion at a meeting of Enfield South Area Forum on Thursday. The local plan will set out the policies that will guide development in the borough over the next 10 to 15 years. One of the hottest topics up for discussion is how the council will meet a new house building target of nearly 2,000 homes a year, almost 4 times the current rate of development. The council has proposed building on some areas of the protected green belt, which covers 1/3 of the land in Enfield. It says managed development on a small segment of the green belt could help to meet the housing targets and has earmarked land near Cruise Hill Station as a possible site for new homes. The Conservative group is opposed to building on the green belt, says the council should focus on brownfield land in the east of the borough to link development to the Crossrail 2 route. But other councillors have warned adding new housing in areas that are already built up could put strain on transport and other public services.